Hey, BCA 101, Introduction to Computers and Information Systems. Today, 11/11/2016, Veterans Day. Just finishing up week 11. Today is Friday. First thing we talked about, I used Jordan in class, and this over here is me. We need to send a message through, let's say, maybe the internet, this cloud, somewhere that we're not sure on who might see the message. Really important, let's say it's like a 500-page contract about something really important. So we need to get it over here. And so we want to secure it. So let me go through the process in doing that. First of all, a little bit of a background. You can create a public and private key pair. Okay, public and private key pair. So that if you encrypt with one, you can only decrypt with the other. Okay? So if I encrypt it with my private key, I have to use the public key to decrypt it. Or if I encrypt it with the public key, I've got to use the private key. So Jordan has a public and private key, and me, I have a public and private key. So here's how it works. Here's one way to do this. Jordan sends me her public key, which she can send to me, not worried about if anybody sees it or not in there, because it's her public key. I use that key, and I encrypt the message, and here the message goes over to Jordan, and she is the only one that can decrypt it, because she's the only one that has her private key. So it's impossible for anybody else to do it. Okay? And then if you use a really good algorithm in between here, then it's hard to try to break that key between here and here. All right. So then also, for the integrity of the message, I can hash it, send the hash over, okay? Jordan decrypts the message. Now she has the message. Then she hashes the message, and then she takes the two hashes, and if they're equal, the message didn't change. 2 out of 3 things done. Okay? So we've preserved the integrity of the message. And we also preserved the confidence, right? The confidentiality, I'm going to write it all out, of the message. One part of the confidentiality, though, that we don't know, did I really send her the message? Or did somebody steal her public key and send her a fake message, a fake contract? Okay, so now we have to figure out a way to put a digital signature on that. So here's what I do during this whole process. I send Jordan my public key. Does that make sense? I send her my public key. So now she has my public key. Then I can take this hash, maybe add my name or something, and then I can encrypt it with my private key. Okay? Now, nobody else in the world could create that, because nobody else in the world has my private key. Nobody, because I wouldn't give it out. Nobody. So I'm the only one that could encrypt it like that. I send it over to Jordan. She can decrypt it because she has, up here, my public key, which is the only key that can decrypt it. She decrypts it, okay? She looks at the hash, compares it to the hash she made, and if they're a match, and she sees my name in it, yep, had to be me, because nobody else has that key. Could have encrypted it that way. And now we've just finished up, right? Data confidentiality and data integrity for a message between the two. Same thing happens. We'll talk a little bit. Similar thing happens when you buy something on Amazon. Same kind of process, handled a bit differently. Before I move off the page, up here, we were talking about the web server. and that information stored on there. Got that HTML. Okay, on your PC, we're talking about you download a picture on your PC that you want to use in your web page. You pull your web page up, you put the right information into the HTML, and don't forget that you got to copy the image off your PC into the server in that directory where you have your index file, at least for our example. Okay, internal private address, global public global address. So this will be quick. So now we can, I talked about, already mentioned this earlier, but public and private keys used in this example, this key pair, and this is the key thing. You encrypt with one, must use the other to decrypt. So it makes a difference the order, public or private. Encrypt with one, decrypt with the other. Okay. Sometimes this is referred to as a shared key pair. All right. And so then in this example over here, if you're on one end for Amazon and you're going to order from Amazon, okay, right, you're going to use the infrastructure of the internet. So you get your stuff here, and then somehow or another we have to be able to send this over here securely. So these guys, Diffie-Hellman, that's two different people, Diffie and Hellman, they came up with a really cool algorithm, and it's not very hard to understand, using some powers where one, you can create sort of a public key here, put it in the algorithm, they can take this, put it in the algorithm, then you share the results, and you do something with that, and then it produces the same key on both ends. So they can use Diffie-Hellman to create a key on both ends, or actually this becomes like a key pair, right? Because you got this number and you got the key here, so this is like the private key and this is like the public key, but anyway, it creates this key pair, sets up the encryption, you do the process, here to here, okay, make the sale, everything's encrypted in between there. Then they do this, right? They do this, and they get information from the bank, make sure you have money in the bank or whatever, and then, right, then they put it, right, in the UPS truck, and they drive it over to your house. Or they might put it on a drone and might fly it to your house. That'd be even better. Then we had security issues. This won't take long. It could take a long time. First thing we talked about, but we're not. Data is what we're concerned about. Data. And remember, either when it's stored, in transit, or being processed. Right? Stored, transit, or being in process. Somebody stealing the data and using it inappropriately, or somebody changing the data and using that inappropriately. First thing we think of is banks. You know, banks have all this information stored about us, and you surely wouldn't want somebody to be able to steal that information or manipulate it. Okay? There are so many industries that use technology that rely on the trust. Just think if you heard that your bank wasn't trustworthy, you know, we're getting hacked into all the time and so forth, you might think twice about having your money there. Next thing, talk about legal consequences. Somehow we have to, in some ways, we have to make laws because it's just, in some cases, so easy not to do the right thing legally. Okay, so we make laws and we create fines to people who are conscious of those situations. Here at the college, I cannot talk about the students to their parents, to other people, and so forth. You know, important information about the students. I can't. It's against the law. Okay, so that's security. I can't be sending, like I'm not supposed to send grades in an email or any kind of grading information in an email because somebody else might see it. It's not safe. Okay, hospitals, huge. You know, doctors, nurses, everybody in the hospital. They have to follow the HIPAA rules. They can't be talking about patient information outside of the hospital. Some places you're required to secure your Wi-Fi. I read an article, I think it was Ohio, where you cannot use somebody else's Wi-Fi unless it's posted that it's a hotspot for you to use. Like you can't drive up to somebody's house, you know, they got Wi-Fi, and you drive up and you sit in your car and do all your work while connected to their Wi-Fi. In fact, I heard one incident's about $250 fine. Anyway, so we have laws to help protect people, actually from people primarily. Identity theft, okay. It's probably worse to have your identity stolen, your social security number, than it would be your credit card number. Your credit card number, you can kill that in a heartbeat. You know, if you're following your account, checking it all the time, you can stop people. Or, like ours, it's got limits. It's not going to let somebody spend a huge amount of money on it without our okaying it. But your social security number, if they get that and they create a new person and then open, you know, are there more than one credit card you can open? Jeez, you can open up tons of accounts and then max these all out. Open those accounts with huge values, you know, or something, and credit card, get them started, max them all out. Yeah, then you have trouble because then that's tied back to you. Cyber terrorism. The point we made here initially, this is scaring people. Okay, that's terrorism. Terrorism is putting people in a point where they're scared to a point of, you know, and it varies with everybody, but it's not hacking in your account and taking your money. It's stopping the internet from working, which wouldn't be the end of the world. We could function without the internet. Not as well as we would with it, but we could. But shutting down the power grid, so a third of the United States doesn't have power for 30 days? Can you imagine what kind of chaos that would create? Holy smokes. So there's all kinds of things like that. That this would be a dangerous thing. People, and you know, you feel bad, like right now, ransomware in hospitals. You know, they're picking on, they steal that information here. Well, they encrypt it. Okay, this is what we were talking about earlier. They encrypt it, and they have the key. And you can't encrypt it without the key. Now, you have backups, but boy, that's a huge process to re-back it all up and get everything, you know, working again. Then who's going to say they're not going to do it again? So some hospitals pay it. They just pay the money to get the key, and then they encrypt their data. It's crazy. Week 11's in the books. That's it. I'm going home. Enjoy the weather. Over and out.